Good morning. It's Sunday Fun Day. Or shall I say Sunday FunSprays Day. Hey, it's Care. Welcome to my take at the lake. I should be doing laundry and household chores to prepare for the week, but instead I'm here playing with my toys. You can see that these are not dry yet, so we're working in the kitchen for a few minutes and then we'll move into the studio. I'll link the FunSprays how-to video below. It's just food coloring in these fabulous little spray bottles. I got a pack of 10 of them at the St. Vincent store. I don't know, for $2. They're not that expensive. It's just food coloring and water. Gel food coloring, liquid food coloring. I have one that's paste food coloring. It doesn't matter. And I have been fun spraying everything that the Bostons are lucky that they move a lot because I may fun spray them. And I'm here to show you all the stuff that I've done. And I already have some more ideas, including something to do with this goodie here, but that's in a future video. So I'm tired of waiting for these to dry. I did all of these. Most of them are index cards. And the last one wasn't, I'm not happy with how the colors went. And so while it's wet, I just started making hash marks with my fingernail. And I think that's a whole different technique that I might have to try one of these days. Did all different kinds of colors. What you see there is salt. These act sort of like watercolor. They move where the water is. They bleed into each other. They react with salt just like watercolor does. Some colors react better than others, just like watercolor. For example, not much is happening with the salt on this yellow. It didn't really do anything. Not much is happening here with the pinks and the yellows and the orange. It seems to be only the one with the blue in it and the purple. This is just paste violet food coloring, but it's got a super deep pink base, and so it always dries back. It starts out deep violet, but as it dries, it pinks out. But the blue kind of separates, which is kind of neat. And the blue in it reacts with the salt. This was purple and blue, reacted with the salt. It's a beautiful effect, and I love it. I have more on that in a few minutes. These two are photo paper. I wanted to see how it would work on photo paper. The salt does nothing, even in the blue, on the photo paper. None do nothing. Hopefully by the end of this video, these will be dry. If not, I'll add another instant update when they are dry, so you can see the finished result. So this is back. Yes, indeed. I sprayed this. I had it sprayed before, but when I was tearing it apart this morning, I was tearing out all the glue pieces that I had glued in, thinking this is going to be my glue book. It's not going to be my glue book. I noticed how much I really liked the pages of this stuff. And some of the pages didn't have a lot on it. And so I resprayed with my FunSprays where I had already sprayed, same colors, a little bit different because the first time I did it was with printer cartridge ink that I had made from thrifted print cartridges. And today I threw all those out. That's a video for another day. Not because it made me sick. Somebody was worried. Those things are toxic. No, they're not toxic. They're toxic if you drink them. I'm not drinking them. I'm not inhaling them. I'm spraying them away from me. Anyway, back to the... Can we just stay on track? We've got things to do today. Resprayed it, but really saturated it all the way around so that the pages get beautiful. I can trim that off and use those as really cool washi tape. Some got more than others. This happened before, obviously. But isn't that yummy? So the point of this is, the point of the video is all the things you can do with, I shouldn't say all because I'm already coming up with more ideas. All the things so far that I've done with my FunSprays. I think this is a PS to a recent video. I'm going to make a box out of this. I'm either going to cut out the pages or cut out the text block and make a storage box. I think that's the current plan. I think. We'll see. You know, things change around here pretty quickly. Hi, bud. These are my colored napkins. I've used some of them, but I keep making more because I keep making FunSpray projects. And if you noticed in the index cards I just showed you, I have paper towel underneath that. And so I'm making more of this constantly. And the paper towel is 2-ply. So for every design I get 2, which is awesome. These go in backgrounds. I've used them in my round journal. I'm going to use them in my color glue book. I'm going to use them in my themed projects. I may come up with a project just for these. So these are just paper towels that I've sprayed with my FunSprays. Sometimes I use other things underneath. This is the backing of contact paper. On one side it's real waxy and slippery, and the other is kind of waxy and slippery, but not as much. They took beautifully onto that too. Look how pretty it mixes and whatnot. I was surprised that it stayed because it is such a slippery surface. Buying $1.25 Tree contact paper, I think, is worth it just to have these. I've been using these to stick in my pages so they don't stick together when I'm gluing things, rather than high dollar deli paper, which I also have. But I had that contact paper and I thought, well, I'll use that till it's gone, and it's working beautifully. I said in there, I'll show you some more about salt. Can you see? Let's see if I can get it here. There, it glistens. I like to get most of it off. I don't like the texture of it, but it's still almost like, but not quite, rock candy from Mr. Holt's, but super, 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 super fine and tiny. I use McDonald's salt packets. These are amazing. I obviously don't use gloves. I had to bleach my hands last night because holy Hannah, I was just giving her with the FunSprays yesterday too. But this is the kind of salt that I always use. It's super fine and it leaves that nice sparkly. Wouldn't that be great in a winter scene or a woodland scene? That it could either be dew or frost. Oh yeah, possibilities are endless. I sprayed some of my recycled mailers. You know, you get stuff from Amazon, at least we do, quite regularly. These two are white paper. I haven't tried the plasticky ones yet because I didn't think they would last. And actually, that's not true. I did try it on a white plasticky envelope like this. Let's just try it. So as expected, it all just beads up on there. But I'm going to let this lay flat and dry and just see what it does. Because if it dries properly, if it dries like that, that's still kind of cool. I don't know. My guess is it's going to evaporate and it's just going to be an ugly mess by the time I'm done. And I'll have to put some sort of, maybe napkin art over it or something. So let me find, let me find a flat space in this room. That's funny. All right. So these are papery type envelopes. Again, I put the salt on. Didn't really do too much, but it did leave a little tiny, tiny, tiny bit of glisten. Fun stuff. It worked beautifully. The salt works fantastic with the blues and the purples. Tiny bit with the teals. And this is a yellow. That color. Oh, so it's beautiful fall colors. I love it. Sort of coffee dye, tie-dye, whatever. The salt did kind of fun stuff. The other thing that I do, just like in watercolor, is when I have it all out, when I have it all painted, as it's drying, but before it's 100% dry, I spatter it with a little bit of just plain water and let that do its thing. And that's the blossoms and bleeds. Again, just like watercolor. Look how fun. The salt didn't do too much on here. It did with the blues. I do layers when I do it if I don't like how it's going. There's several layers on those index cards. I just keep spraying and I watch, and I keep spraying and I watch. The salt did good stuff in that green area, but that might be, I don't know, it might be blue mixed with something. I don't know. Envelopes. I've made painty papers with them too. I've just sprayed paper, but I've used them all. So I didn't make any more yet. So you'll see those in other videos, but that's also an option. Just spray your papers with your FunSprays and see what you get. Do like with this is a project I'm working on for that woodland. These are woodland creatures for my dark fairy tale themed project. And so I got out the gauze or the cheesecloth. Some of this is just cheesecloth and some of this is gauze from a first aid kit. And they turned out beautifully. I love the colors. I also sprayed these so they're not so bright with coffee from, oh, it's still out there. I keep instant coffee in a spray bottle too. And so when I had my colors, when everything was wet, I toned it all down with coffee. But you can see I got all different kinds of colors. I do have a red in there, and I added some pink to get this sort of reddish color. Some nice dark mossy green. Some I did just plain coffee. Some I hit with extra instant coffee. So all kinds of different colors. I'll insert a picture here though, because this is not pretty when you're doing it. I swear to you, the plate with this red one on it looks like a plate of entrails. Yeah, isn't that nice? True crime person, that's where my mind goes. I saw a truck driving the other day. He left Home Depot and he pulled out, not in front of me, but he pulled out and now he's in front of me. And I looked in the back of his pickup truck and there was a little tiny refrigerator box. And my first thought was, dude, she's never going to fit in there. I don't care how many pieces you cut her up into. She's not going to fit in that fridge. That's how much time I spend with true crime. Sick and Twisted. Welcome to my world. I love this one. I think this is probably my favorite because it has red and green that didn't get all muddied out. But so FunSprays on gauze. I didn't have any need for brights right now, so I didn't make any brights, but I made a lot of woodland colors, and they're fabulous for clusters and backgrounds and these little things that I'm working on. I cannot wait to show you that. I can't wait to do it, but I keep having to work, and so I haven't been able to play much lately. Obviously, upcoming here, you'll see that I just took it and played all night and well into the morning this morning. And what was I doing, you ask? Well, I love sari silk, but I don't want to buy any. I have a glut of old white cotton sheets. And I say old because the vintage ones are all cotton and they're wonderful. Most new ones have some kind of polyester in it and they're not as wonderful. And so when I'm at St. Vinny's, I try to pick up good white cotton sheets that are old. And the reason I do that is to keep my dogs cool in the summertime. You know, in the winter when it's cold, we do flannel sheets and fleece blankets and whatnot. But in the summer, I line all their beds and where they lay on my bed with lots of layers of white cotton sheets. It keeps them much cooler. I also have cooling pads for them to sleep on, you know, because they're amazing. And summer's hot. So I have a lot of cotton white sheets. And I tore some strips and I made my own sari silk. You know, at a glance, who's going to know the difference? Obviously, it's not silk, it's cotton. But look how yummy these are. I just can't get enough of this. So all I did with these is I cut them into strips first because I wanted to make sure that the edges got done. I think if I did a whole bunch and then tore them, it would have white edges, which would be kind of a neat look too. I wet them in spots, not all over, because again, like watercolor, the FunSprays are going to go where the water is. They're going to bleed out into where the water is. And so I didn't want to dull down all the colors, but I did want them to move a little bit here and there. After I hit them with my bright colors, I hit it with the coffee here and there. Obviously not everywhere, because that's pretty bright, but for the most part, this is kind of dull. And how I got that sort of vintagey look was hitting it with my coffee spray. You don't have to hit it with your coffee spray. You can make these beautiful pastels. And again, having torn it before I colored it, the fringes get the color too, versus being stark white. So I wanted this nice soft minty green, but you can see that there are some other colors in there just because I was flinging FunSprays around like a crazy woman. But I also did a nice soft yellow. I'd like to do a Denim and Daisies book, I think. And so I wanted a nice bright yellow and white. Yellow's not usually my color or anything that I would pick, but if I'm doing a Denim and Daisies book, wouldn't this make amazing tabs? And that's what I was thinking. They'd make good closures, they make good tabs, they make good tag toppers, they make good page edging. There's so much you can do with these little strips. Just some more colors. I made some sorbet or sherbet colors, I guess is a better word. I love these colors. Coordinates nicely with that, right? And I have this fun little sherbet book that's all these colors. And so I made this specifically for the closure for that. I'm going to keep that thread. I might do a little bird's nest or something cool with that thread in there. So I could probably just put that right in there. I already have those in there. I made some brighter versions of it too. Super, super bright. Isn't that just yummy? Oh, I just love these. And I did all the fire colors. I don't know what for. There'll be a project someday. Red, orange, and yellow. The red is really kind of a brick red. It's not a great red. We're dealing with food coloring here. That's really cool. And then some brights of the blues. Oh, this one. This is really cool. This is a patterned sheet that I have. It has really, really ugly flowers on it. But I think it adds dimension behind. It looks like I did a lot more work than I did. I just sprayed over the pattern and it worked beautifully. I love it. I just love it. Some cotton candy colors over that patterned sheet as well. This is a beautiful watercolory sky. You know, those sunset colors are so beautiful. And then we're back to the plain sheet with purple and blue. So much to do with that. I'm going to tear some more strips and do just coffee, different shades of coffee dyeing. Anyway, I'm going to put coffee on them. One of the things I did do too is get out my instant coffee crystals, and while the things were still wet, I sprinkled them over to kind of deepen in spots. So here's my list. Envelopes, I showed you regular and packing. You know, regular mail envelopes, do those. Sari silk, in parentheses, sari silk from Sheets. One of these is a tea towel, a piece of a tea towel too that I cut. This one is not Sheets. It's a $5 pack of tea towels from Walmart. Those work pretty good too. Paper towels I showed you. Index cards we started with. Book page edging we've already done. Cheesecloth and gauze we've done. I've used them on mixed media pages too, but I tore them up for collage, so I don't have them handy. And here's the piece de resistance. Look at this. Again, this is torn bed sheet. I just tore a bigger strip. And I left a lot of it white. This is how it started, and I wished I'd have left well enough alone, but the good news is I have a lot more sheets downstairs, and I know what I'm doing now. The first layer had a lot of white, and it just had these wonderful splotches of color. But there were some dull areas, and I thought, oh, I'm going to just jazz those up. And, well, I did, but it took away what I liked most about it. So I'm going to do another one of these. I'll do a tutorial. If you're interested, let me know in the comments below. If not, I will just play by myself. I will do it so that I get that look all over the place, because that, I think, is just yummy, yummy, yummy. This whole thing's not bad. I think this is beautiful too. The idea here was covers for journals, or even some fabric pages. I've seen some wonderful journals lately with fabric pages in them. So I might want to do that with some of the things that I'm working on. So there's that. I can see me doing like this and just have a purple day and do a whole bunch of different ones that are purple and primarily blue, you know, and do the coffee dyed and the other. And here, this one, there it is. That's what I was looking for. Thought I lost my mind. I did not. So here's more of that. No, this is just plain white sheet that I hit with the FunSprays, and then I hit with the coffee. And just to see what would happen, I put the instant crystals on. Coffee instant crystals. If you don't want to use coffee instant crystals, because I'm telling you, all this stuff smells like coffee, use instant tea crystals. It's a completely different smell. If you don't like the smell of coffee, this project, don't use the coffee. You don't have to coffee dye them. But I sprinkled instant coffee crystals while it was still wet, and I got these beautiful dark spots where the crystals just melted out and made these dark areas, which I couldn't get with my FunSprays because they're food coloring. They're not super pigmented. Isn't that wonderful? So if I was doing a green journal, wouldn't that just be fabulous? Page edging, tabs, whatever. More of the dark coffee. Some spotting. I think it's wonderful. I think they're great. I think it adds another layer. Now for the piece de resistance. For reals. This is that patterned sheet. Isn't that just gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous? The pattern just gives it extra dimension beyond the tide. I'm not going to say tie-dyed effect. I don't know what to call this. Watercolor effect, because that's what this looks like to me. A watercolor background. I did spatter this with water while it was drying. I think that's what these are. These sort of dot looking things. Because the pattern was dry brush. There wasn't anything like that in there, so that was the back of it. Here's the front of it, which is okay, but I think I would use the back primarily because I'm not jazzed about those flowers showing, but they don't show nearly as much on the back, so that's what I will probably use it backwards. So again, use this stuff as tabs or toppers or closures, covers. You can use these in embellishments, bits and pieces of this in embellishments. Fabric pages, regular pages, use bits and pieces of it in your collages and in your clusters. These would make great backgrounds on pages. Again, good page edging. Loads and loads and loads of fun stuff, just with some inexpensive spray bottles and some food coloring, which you probably have. Again, I used, some of them are liquid, some of them are gel. One is a paste. I thought that would be darker. It's not so much. I used up all the food coloring that I had. I found some on clearance at Meijer. And the purple I bought special. I think I paid $5 for it because it was so dark. And it's not so dark. So don't spend the huge money on the paste because it's no darker at all. So it's a few hours later. This has been sitting on top of my heater, so warm air has been blowing up on it for a few hours. And it's still sticky. And my guess is, if you were to mail this and it happened to be raining, even just slightly misting outside, it would all come off. So the FunSprays are great for fabric and paper and cardboard and index cards and paper towels and paper and all kinds of things. They are not good for plastic. That's permanent. Where there's paper, it's all permanent like, but on the plastic, I didn't think it would stay. But we had to try, and now we know. So don't use your FunSprays on plastic. And the other instant update were the index cards that were wet when we were talking earlier. This is a piece of photo paper. Hey, here's a Krabby Crafter thing. I'm just going to throw them in one at a time once in a while so that you don't have to sit through an entire Krabby Crafter video, which I have on my list. So many people, YouTube crafters, when they're unboxing something or looking at something, they're sitting down here and they're looking at it. And they can see it. Your audience is here. This is no good. We can't see what you're looking at. Even if you tilt it a little, we can't see. Bring it up here so we can see it, because that's where we're at. So the salt on the photo paper did not make bursts like it normally does. It just sits on top of it, and it'll rub right off. Some of it won't, and that's all right, because I think that's where you get the... There's some weird ghosting. Let's see, focus. Very subtle. If you can't see it, don't feel bad. I can hardly see it. It's only in certain angles of the light. But it's pretty. You know, it's very pretty. I would do that again. It's not sticky, except for where the salt is. This one is also photo paper. And I just think it's fun. I think it's awful glossy for matte. I don't know what kind of photo paper it is. It's something I got at St. Vinny's. I don't think it really matters. It's set there. It's not sticky. And it's just, I don't know, fun. What would be kind of cool too is to put the food color on it while it's still wet. Scrunch up some cut up Walmart bag or saran wrap and weight it down. Scrunch it up and put it on here, and then put something on to weight that down till the food coloring dries, and then peel that off, and you'll have all kinds of really cool... I show this a lot because it's handy, and it's better to see it than try to explain it. This is made with saran wrap, that really cool pattern. And I like it so much. Every time I pick it up to use it for something, I go, no, I'm going to save it. No, I'm going to hold it. I'm trying to remember what this is on here. I should have wrote on here what it was. Might just be watercolor. I can't remember. But I do know on top I put saran wrap. Weighted it down. That's how you get the pattern. So with your FunSprays, if you're doing it on photo paper, do the same thing for this kind of pattern. It's very cool. It gives you all kinds of new... I did not do that with this. I didn't even think about it to do it this time around. I was just so excited and throwing my paint around. The yellow one with my fingernail marks in it. I thought those hash marks would get dark. And they did, sort of. But not really. Beautiful. Fun stuff. Beautiful. Very subtle, but I like it. Be a cute little miniature journal cover. course, I always try to remember to do the blank side so that the back side can always be journaling space if I ever put them in journals. So far, all I've done is collect my bookmarks. I haven't really used them for much. Excuse me, my index cards. I've never seen an index card like this. It's huge. This was an index card. It was in my index card bin. I don't remember buying big index cards. I don't know where it came from, but it's here. And, of course, it's another really pretty one. Comes complete with dog hair. Yes, indeed. This salt-covered drop cloth. I think the coolest stuff happens on the drop cloths quite often. You can never sort of replicate that. Got lots of fun things to play with my FunSpray adventure this weekend. I hope this inspires you to make some of your own FunSprays if you've not already. If you've made them, let me know in the comments below. What do you use them for and how are they working for you? If you've not made them, make them today. Today is Sunday, FunSprays Day. And then take a nap. We can take a lesson from Bitsy. You have a lovely, lovely, crafty, nappy, Sunday, fun day. Go love up those Beasleys. Mate at the lake. Out for now.